Alright, this is going to be a different video, and remember that YouTube has a venomous hatred of anything outside your little circle, and I'll admit my circle is extremely small as is, so I know this video is going to do absolutely terrible, but I'm still going to make this hot take. I hate bards, or anything like bards. I hate classes and games that have classes like that. Which is weird given they're kind of just me IRL. But why do I hate them so much? Let's go over them. My hatred of them started during my second 3.5 game I was playing in. I was playing a cleric in a setting my buddy had made. And unfortunately, we had a wizard who they have every single knowledge skill in 3.5, but has to put points into each one. And then we have the bard with bardic knowledge. And that's where my hatred begins. The wizard was built around the physical realm our characters were in, while my cleric, medic, was built around healing, protecting, and knowing of other planes and religions of the world. The bard did everything. In our early levels, I wanted my cleric to essentially have 3 skills. The heal skill, the knowledge religion skill, and the knowledge planes skill. Our bard was built to perform various different things and put points into bardic knowledge, which immediately beat me and the wizard in our knowledge skills. It honestly made me feel useless. Like, all I could do was heal, and even then, I wasn't expected to heal. I made this cleric to be non-lethal, not pacifist, non-lethal. Why, let's go into the story a little bit. In this setting, like most settings, Warforged are, well, weapons of war. In these cases, they were designed by dwarves to stomp out rebellions and put them in situations that would be risky for dwarves. At some point, a deity based off Final Fantasy's Alexander looked at a bunch of Warforged and said, "Here, have free will." A bunch of Warforged rebel against their dwarven slavers, and Medic at that point called Breaker 1776, yes, I did that, was one of those that slaughtered en masse in order to gain his freedom from the dwarven war machine. One day, he was on a battlefield, ripped a battle axe from a dwarf fighter, and he noticed the face of the dwarf. Fear. He realized in that moment that he was putting fear into dwarves, and they would hate him when this rebellion was over. So he turned the axe around, wielded a Mordhau technique, and swung it into the dwarf's head, knocking him out. The Breaker decided he would no longer kill, and carried that rule for 50 years. Now, he was not pacifist. He was by no means passive. He would kick your ass, take your name, then mend your wounds, and try to talk to you after giving you back your name. My party hated this. I wasn't the only healer, but it was my thing. I took the domains of healing and protection, meaning my healing spells were more powerful and my protection spells were also boosted. The bard made that a little worthless, according to everyone. Bards get healing spells, as we all know, but they have to select them when they level up. This bard didn't take the healing spells, usually only took buff spells, but because they could take healing spells, the party said I should be taking damage spells in my prepared list. But I did not. What I put my prepared list as was protection spells, and then with 3.5 clerics I could swap them out with healing spells as I needed to, so long as I was good aligned, which I stuck to. For whatever reason, because Bards could take it, they felt he should take it, despite only having like one, I think, 0 or first level healing spell. That's it. So they actively went out of their way to keep away from me. For whatever reason, I don't think this healing spell the Bard took was a ranged spell, but everyone acted as though it was. So everyone would run away from me. In a few occasions, the wizard actually recognized, hey, we need healing, let's get close together. And he would cast a spell, I think it was Regroup, or maybe it was called Recall, I can't quite remember. So we would all get together in an area. Too bad I had a -1 dexterity, and I was last in the initiative order every time, because 2 people would immediately run away. The fighter, and she wasn't playing a 3.5 class, she was using Spheres of Power, which, for those who don't know, Spheres of Power is based off Pathfinder 1st edition, but it is not designed to be used with Pathfinder or 3.5 because everything is a die size larger. When one class can guarantee a hit and a crit by using 2 of their 100 power points per day, there's an issue. It's a cool system, honestly, but the lack of research I find people doing with it makes some players feel absolutely worthless next to it. I might do a video on it in the future, but not today. So back to the story. Now, because the Bard could use healing, but did not actually have anything over a 0 or first level spell, everyone, for whatever reason, assumed that was enough. The fighter would run off, and this Spheres of Power, Spheres of Might, I can't remember which one, would end up just making all of us absolutely worthless. She never took damage anyway. Admittedly, she was the GM's wife, so there definitely was some favoritism in there. Anywho, back to the Bardic Knowledge. This basically covers all knowledge skills in 3.5, but only for stories. The purpose should be used to tell stories, but mix some fiction and horror elements into it when trying to figure out what's going on with this creature. For whatever reason, every time the Bard made a Bardic Knowledge check, knew everything. Essentially made me and the wizards and our focus absolutely worthless. Unfortunately, the game died in 2020, and that was one of my favorite characters, but after sitting on it for a while, I kind of realized that my character was actively thrown against. Like, it wasn't that the GM threw things at our group to make me feel useless, but instead threw things at the group that made either his brother, the wizard, or his wife, the Spheres of Might character, just so much better. The fighter got some fun in there because she ended up taking it as a blind sight character, which is honestly just cool. Eventually that player ended up just dropping. We never really figured out why, but whatever. Then there was a Swashbuckler 3.5, which isn't a rogue, but more like a fighter with some dancing involved, which was just a fun character, so because he was our old GM, was always able to play it up. Me, I got shoved into the back, unfortunately. But that's how I feel. Because of that one game, I have forever gripped onto a hatred of jack-of-all-trade type characters. bards in Pathfinder and D&D, envoys in Starfinder, and other games too. Which is weird given I tried to get a degree in audio production so I could make music. I know several instruments, and I have been called an IRL bard too, with how easy of a time I have influencing people near me. I mean that physically, like, I know my voice is a little flat on videos. Yeah, bards. I really hate them. I'm always afraid when players want to play them that I'm going to end up doing what that GM did to me with a bard. Hell, we had a wizard in one game that was basically that bard, but admittedly that player was cheating left, right, and center, so whatever. But that's my story. I have zero idea what I'll do next week. I know YouTube won't recommend this video to anyone, so I'm going to ask you, please try and share it. Algorithm likes it when you like and comment too, but I don't care if you do that. So, thank you, and now, shove off.